Here at the Faculty of Economics, we've got a rather unique fund. It's called the Keynes Fund, and for the past 10 years it's provided funding for academics at the University of Cambridge to engage in quality research into finance and economics. Dr. Toke Eit is the director of the Keynes Fund. I'm pleased to say he's with me now. Toke, could you give me a bit of background into the history of the fund?
Sure. The Keynes Fund for Applied Economics, or the Keynes Fund in short, was established in 2012 by a generous donation to the University of Cambridge from a Cambridge alumnus. The purpose of the fund is to enable researchers in economics and across the university to follow in the footsteps of John Maynard Keynes in promoting innovative research and teaching that meet the practical needs for finding solutions to real-world problems. So to this end, the fund provides financial support to specific research projects within its remit to understand distortions, how they affect market allocation, and find some solutions to correct these distortions. So over the past decade, we have funded more than 60 projects. A total of £2 million have been given out in support. So many of these have naturally been led by academics from economics or the Judge Business School, but we've also supported researchers from the Faculty of History, the Faculty of Education, from the Department of Politics and Social Studies, Land Economy and Geography, even the Department of Linguistics. We're very keen to support applied research by PhD students and postdocs. In fact, one of the key remits of the fund is precisely to do that, to help early career researchers. Much of the research supported by the fund is highly relevant to today's problems. It's aimed at finding solutions and, more broadly, simply to improve our understanding of economic and social interactions.
The Keynes Fund has provided support for numerous research projects covering everything from the behaviour of managers to economic incentives.
I have been very fortunate to have two projects funded by the Keynes Fund, which have enabled me and colleagues to collect work on interesting data sets. In one of these projects, we look at manager choices in a firm, and in the other, at pro-social behavior among university students. The Keynes Fund did not shy away from these projects, despite the initial uncertainty about whether anything might come out of them, which is the very moment in empirical research at which the funding is crucial. One of these projects is now completed, and our paper with David Huffman and Colin Raymond on overconfidence among managers is coming out in the American Economic Review. This would not have been possible without the Keynes Fund.
The Keynes Fund is a wonderful resource, and my research across multiple projects has benefited substantially from it over the years. It has given me the ability to address questions that may otherwise have been out of reach. A good example is the latest project I have had funded by it, as it was extremely time sensitive. An important tool at the disposal of governments is the information they provide and the advice they give. This can help people to make better choices, and often these information policies rely on experts for support. At the same time, some politicians have sought to undermine the credibility of experts, and anecdotal evidence suggests that there is currently relatively limited public trust in experts. It was against this backdrop that the recent COVID-19 pandemic hit. The pandemic put information policies front and centre in government's effort to get people to take socially beneficial actions. From an academic perspective, this created a real-time opportunity to study the extent to which experts' expertise can be leveraged to influence people's opinions in important and meaningful ways, and to study how information from experts can best be deployed. Had we not got the necessary funding in place very quickly, the project would have been impossible to get off the ground before it was too late. The Keynes Fund stepped in and was able to process our application and provide funding within a matter of weeks. It made a big difference.
My name is Alice Kügler, and I received my award from the Keynes Fund as a PhD student at Cambridge in 2014 to create a large novel dataset on inventing in 19th century Britain. By creating data on who invents, I show that higher inequality can lead to less inventions. I believe I was the first PhD student to receive funding at a time when there was no specific Keynes Fund scheme for PhD students and there were very few alternative sources to fund data collection for PhD students. Without the Keynes Fund award, this project would not have been feasible. The project was extremely important for my career. I was invited to present the project widely, including at the prestigious NBR Summer Institute and at policy institutions such as central banks and the OECD. I also used the project to apply for and get 2 great jobs, as a postdoc at University College London and my current job as an assistant professor in economics at the Central European University in Vienna.
Hi, I'm Christopher Rau. I'm a member of the Faculty of Economics at the University of Cambridge. The Keynes Fund has been vital for my research agenda, and also for the development of the economics department as a whole. It funds projects which address policy-relevant questions and further our understanding of the economy and beyond. Helps us purchase data sets, hire research assistants, travel to conferences, and invite our co-authors. Currently, the Keynes Fund is funding a project of mine in which I'm studying the impact of conflict and the risk of conflict on local economic development. In order to study this important question, we're relying on millions of newspaper articles which we're analyzing using machine learning. Without the funds of the Keynes Fund, we would not have been able to develop this project to the extent we already have.
Hello, I'm Ramana Davenport. I'm a Senior Research Associate in the Geography Department, and I held a Keynes Fund grant with Professor Toka Ait in Economics and Dr. Lee Shaw-Taylor in the History faculty. And we used the grant to investigate the relationship between local investments in public health, particularly water and sewerage, and health outcomes in British cities in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. The project was very successful, and the first paper from the project has been accepted by the Economic History Review, and it's co-authored by PhD student Felix Gray. And a key to the success of the project was its interdisciplinarity. It involved a close collaboration between economists, historical geographers, and demographers. And the Keynes Fund was really essential to the success of the project because it provided a medium-sized grant with a streamlined application process and a rapid response. And this type of funding is currently very rare in the UK context. And so the fund fills a really important gap in the research funding landscape. The size of the grant's perfect for small, well-defined projects, but also for proof of concept projects to leverage further external funding. And that's what we've done in this case. So we're currently applying to the ESRC for a £1 million grant to extend the project both geographically and chronologically. So the Keynes Fund enabled us to establish the viability of our approaches and also to demonstrate genuinely interdisciplinary and collaborative research.
Hello, my name is Pedro Safi, and I'm a professor of financial economics here at the Judge Business School in Cambridge. I'd like to thank the Keynes Fund for all the help in the past 10 years. It has significantly furthered my own career and many of my research projects. In particular, I would like to talk about my latest one, which involves thousands of investors in the Brazilian stock market and their trading activities every single day for a long period of time. And this requires such a huge amount of computing power and storage power that we needed some help getting access to the supercomputing cluster here in Cambridge. And without the Keynes Fund support to do that, this research agenda and the stream of papers that I'm hoping will come out of this would not be possible.
The Keynes Fund is a wonderful institution in economics which has supported researchers in economics and right around the university for 10 years now. We were fortunate to receive support for this and hope that this continues very much in the future. For me personally, the Keynes Fund has supported my research in a relatively new area of economics, the economics of religion, and it has provided funds when I have needed it for critical time-defined projects. This has both increased the visibility as well as the scope of my research. As Deputy Director of the Fund, I'm delighted to be involved with its activities and would like to thank all university colleagues, economics colleagues, and the staff who have been shepherding the activities of the Fund over the last 10 years.
Each September, the Keynes Fund holds a Research Day, an annual celebration of the high-quality research supported by the Fund. Each year, the Keynes Fund also holds the annual Keynes Lecture with academics from around the world with a range of specialities. Last year, it was presented by Professor Helen Ray. So Toke, it sounds as if much of the research is really devoted to understanding real-world problems and finding solutions. But what next? What next for the Keynes Fund?
Yes, so what about the future? The first 10 years have been extremely successful, and the fruits of all the research that the fund has been supporting are now clearly visible in all the publications that are coming out in academic journals and also in the wider traction that the research is getting. The fund is really ready for the next 10 years, which will be as successful, if not more, than the first.